two ways in which religion, more specifically Christianity, seems to enable large-scale cooperation. Value synchronization. If one goes through life, maybe as I did, eventually one figures out a few principles. Of course, these principles are iterated from a day-to-day basis maybe. So maybe eventually one figures out that one's reputation is ideally not to be messed with. And downstream from this are then many different sub-values, sub-goals, and also sub-behaviors, like being nice to somebody else. Maybe even if you don't have a reason to. Because in the long run, this could turn out to be a positive value for you. So by writing books and also by basically teaching people those books from a very early age, one now independent of the content of those books, let's just assume there are a few principles that as humans basically go through evolution, they eventually figured out that enable large-scale cooperation. Of course, there might also be a few errors, maybe many errors in those books. But now if one teaches these values, maybe also by leading many universities and schools, at least in the last couple of 100 years, then this seems to synchronize the values in between the people who live. It's to a certain extent a top-down approach. Now, since then everybody knows these values, they then can also act as if everybody knows these values. So the models of the world that eventually evolve as a human grows, thereby possibly achieve a higher state of synchronicity at different age levels. The second domain I want to take a look at is time synchronization. Through my own experience, but maybe also through observation, I think it's quite hard to determine, mostly for myself, when I should be allowed to take time off and when I need or want to work. Now, as a main vector for maximizing productivity in the short term at least, it seems that working as much as possible is always the answer. Now, while that's useful for one's own life, as soon as one then has to also find time slots overlapping with other people's free times, then it becomes a much more complicated optimization problem. So what now if a central institution, maybe the same one that already teaches everybody the values, at least of their religion, also said, okay, how about we take just one day off and don't work on this day? And if you then do work on this day, it's not that it's just irrelevant. You even get penalized. And so since then everybody knows this opens up basically time slots that are also then for socializing, which basically is another big theme in my life. That of course socializing is kind of building one's network. It's building friendships. It's increasing the utility of one's own network, one could say, by either extending it by additional nodes or by increasing the utility of these nodes. Possibly also by helping others progress further, or rather progress faster than they otherwise would. And of course this is bilateral. And in addition, daily time is synchronized by church towers.